Take a pen and notebook, take notes.
Welcome to the Scholarpreneurs Playbook course. In this course, I will not only be teaching you how to ace school, but I will be teaching you how to grow an actual agency from scratch. So in most cases, what people do is when they start running an online business, they find their business model to go into, which I highly recommend you go into the agency business model. A lot of people actually pay more attention to building their agency rather than also paying attention to acing their academics and passing their exams. But here in this course, I am going to show you how to balance both so that one doesn't have to suffer over the other. And basically, I'm going to teach you how to run an agency without having to sacrifice your academic life. Shall we get into it? Let's cut the fluff. You are here because you want to pass classes without all-nighters, but also build an agency without burnout. This script gives you exact words, actions, and timing. No theory, just what works. Ready? Let's go. Now, step 1. Never forget again. After every single class or lecture that you have, you need to open your notes up and write 1. The main concept from today's lecture. Number 2. One surprising fact that you have learned from the lecture that you have just learned. Every single day when we learn, right? Us human beings are constantly learning, constantly evolving. Every single day when we learn, it means there is something new that we've learned, right? There is no time you walk into a classroom and you knew everything. Every time you encounter a surprising fact, you need to write it down. It may not be in your journal, but even in your notes app, that can work too. Number 3, how it relates to your agency. No matter what kind of class you're in, whether you're in business class, whether you're in chemistry class, whether you're studying to be a doctor, everything in this world kind of ties and connects to each other, like they connect together, you know what I mean? You need to look for certain concepts that are kind of related to your agency, and just like that, you would kind of keep that balance. You are the only one who can figure out how to do this, because depending on what you study, myself, I study marketing, so it's actually very easier for me to actually take what I learned from class and directly apply it into my marketing agency. But it may be more tough for people who are studying things like dentition, but to be honest, even in dentition, they do cover some aspects on how to get clients to operate on. But that aside, you are the only one who can figure out how what you study connects exactly into what you do inside of your agency. For example, supply and demand curves. If you're studying economics, price elasticity applies to ad budgets. 3, client X needs tiered pricing. You know what I mean? 1, supply and demand curves. 2, price elasticity applies to ad budgets. And 3, client X needs tiered pricing. So if you're studying economics, still it can tie back into your agency. At night, while brushing your teeth, you need to say it out loud. Today, I learned this concept. It matters because of this particular reason. If there is something that you need to take away from this course, is you need to be very intentional about what you are learning. You need to tell yourself that it matters. Unfortunately, if you have the mindset of, what I'm learning in class doesn't apply in the real world, then you're going to be left behind. You need to actually shift your paradigm, your mental state, and start looking at things in a broad perspective and say, what I'm learning matters. And this is the reason why it matters. Because if you have this approach, it simply means that you won't forget it, because your brain is going to record that what you have been studying actually matters, and it's also going to record the reason why it matters. The brain has a tendency of deleting unused information, and I need you to put this into consideration. An example can be, today I learned cognitive dissonance. Clients feel this way when their ads don't match their brands. You see how that works? Cognitive dissonance is something that can be learned in medicine, but that's what clients feel when their ads don't match their brand. So this can really tie in and connect with one another. Step 2, the agency hustle in 15 minutes. Morning before class. Send this email template. Hi, name. I noticed specific detail about business. Let's chat about how specific result. I've got a few ideas from my class name, studies, best, something like this. Exactly like what you see on screen, Sometimes dictating what's in front of you is quite difficult, but this is something that you can send to potential clients. It's kind of like cold DM. But in a sec, I'm going to get to you why cold DM is slowly phasing out, but it's still a very viable way in which you can attract clients. It's just that it's slowly phasing out and it's bringing room to something that is much, much, much easier. And that thing is called personal brand. You can check the personal brand course and it's going to teach you about exactly that. So, after lunch, record a TikTok script. Fun fact about my class lecture. Concept. Here is how it helps my clients. Your handle. Boom. Simple. You've created content just like that. And nowadays, especially because of personal brand, simply by posting that TikTok video, a business owner is going to see it, and already you've got more ammunition to start working with clients, because people are going to see you as more qualified to run their ads if you are always talking about it, if you're obsessed with it, if you are connecting it to what you learn in class. Then even business owners will have no doubt but to work with you. Before bed, reply to one client with on it, update coming tomorrow or Thursday. Basically what I meant by this is you need to communicate with your clients as often as you possibly can. Not like throughout the day, but especially in the evening before bed. You can reply to some clients, you can do everything you can. The main idea about this course is it's going to teach you effective time management and systems and processes on how to remember what you learn in class and implement it into your agency. And certain things you learn in running your agency so that you can re-implement them into your classwork so that you can remember what you study more efficiently. Now, step 3, study smarter script. Before opening a textbook, you need to ask yourself, what's the one thing I need to remember here? Write it at the top of the page. If you just start studying without even realizing to say, why am I studying this? Without a strong why as to why you're studying. It's the same as picking up a newspaper, reading it from top to bottom, and expecting to remember everything that you read, especially if you're reading the newspaper without a particular reason. So before you pick up a textbook, you need to ask yourself, what is it that I want to learn from what I am about to read? And that is what's going to help you to remember everything that you learn. It's not rocket science, it's just psychology. So, when reviewing your notes, the cover page, say, explain concept like I am teaching a client. You know what I mean? You need to explain concepts to yourself like you are teaching a client. When you are pitching your services to your clients, you need to sound as convincing as humanly possible. Unfortunately, this also reapplies to yourself. When you start talking to yourself in a convincing manner like you want to sell to yourself, it's easier to remember what you are learning. You know what I mean? Like, you need to explain your concept to yourself. If possible, look in the mirror. Get your concept, maybe you can write it down, practice it a few times, but don't read when you're reciting it to yourself. Try and convince yourself why the concept that you learned is important, where it can be applied, and why it's important. When you do this, it's going to stick in your head inevitably. While your friends are still panicking about what they're going to write in their exams, you have already reinforced it in your own mind that it's important because of X. You have sold yourself on the idea because you are a salesman, right? Yeah, you can record your answer in the voice memos, by the way. Step 4, Client automation blueprint. Set up once. This is something that you just need to set up once. A lead magnet. Title: How your class topic made me a better marketer. See? Content: 3 bullet points from your notes. Like I said, whether you study medicine, whether you study dentition, whatever you study, you can still find certain things that reconnect back into your agency. So you can talk about why this class concept made you a better marketer, and this way you can add it as a VSL to attract clients. So it's basically like a lead magnet, especially even if you want to do like paid traffic, so that people can see your agency through running ads, which is still a very viable source to gain clients. Number 2, auto email. Subject: lesson from class that can help your business. Body: hi, name. Today in what class we discovered X concept. It made me think about your specific aspect in their business. Could you benefit from this? Want me to show you? You know what I mean? So you basically tell them to say, you can add what you learn in class inside of your sales pitch. You can say something to say, oh, in marketing class today we talked about CRM and it made me think about your business. You know what I mean? So, it can all tie back into school. You need to, like I said in the beginning of this video, it's only you who can find more creative ways on how to deliver your services and your pitch. It's all up to you and how creative you are. I must apologize today. I am sick. I'm literally forcing myself right now to sit here and record this script. I don't know what's up with me, man. Today I feel very, very horrible. I'm sick. But do the hard work, especially when you don't feel like it. Right? You will derive value from this. Whether I'm sick, whether I'm well, I'll always show up. So, step 5. Energy cheat code. When switching tasks, set a timer for 90 minutes. Say, for the next 90 minutes, I am a student. Or for the next 90 minutes, I am a marketer. No distractions. You don't need to fall into the trap of studying. You're studying, you get an email, you stop studying, you check your notifications, while you're maybe running ads for your client, you get a notification that you have an exam tomorrow, and then you start studying. All this is just noise, right? You need to set up a timer for yourself. Every 90 minutes, you are a completely different person. What are you at the current moment? You need to ask yourself wherever you're seated to say, okay, this 90 minutes that I'm sitting here, am I a marketer or I am a student? You need to ask yourself and act accordingly. Yeah. Stand up and say, 20 minutes of another role now. Example, just studies. Now I'll draft a client post. You know what I mean? So basically, what I'm trying to say here is you don't really have time to start watching movies or playing video games. After studying, you should go back into your agency and you need to start working on your services with your clients. The moment you finish studying, the way to relax from the studying is to go run your services for your client. And after agency work, a way to refresh from agency work is going back into your studies, right? It's like you've got 2 very important things in your life that you really have to pay attention to. Like they're both your babies. If you abandon them, like I mentioned inside of the personal branding course, I mentioned to say a business is like a flower. I think that was in the SMMA course. A business is like a flower. If you're not watering it consistently, it's going to wilt. And similarly, if you're not giving a business attention, it's going to die. So you need to actually, manage your time in this way. Delegate slots in the day for what you are doing. 60 minutes, I'm going to delegate to school. 60 minutes, I'm going to delegate to running my agency. Like this, you are going to be unstoppable, right? So, step 6, burnout first aid. Overwhelmed? Say aloud, What's the minimum I need to do today? The bare minimum. What is it that you need to do today? Then text the client. Site schedule tweak. I'll deliver task by new time. Thanks for your flexibility. You know what I mean? Especially if you're feeling burnt out. We're all human. Sometimes we do feel burnt out. Sometimes we do feel quite tired. So if your client was expecting you to perform a certain role at a certain time of the day, then you can actually text them to say, okay, sir, there is a slight schedule tweak, and I will deliver your marketing by 9 p.m. Thanks for your flexibility. And this will give you some time to at least refresh and recover or focus on your schoolwork in terms of things under short notice. Because sometimes being flexible is actually required, not just needed, but actually required. Step 7, school as agency fuel. In class, turn lectures into content. Write how lecture topic can solve dash client problem. You know what I mean? You need to see what you learn in class, topic, and connect it to how it can solve a specific client problem. And it really needs you to be very creative. You don't need anybody to come and tie this into you. Okay, inside of the Distinction Startup, you've got direct access to me, right? You can ask it in the question section above on how you want this particular topic to connect to this particular topic. But all in all, I feel like you can just use AI, because AI can synthesize pretty much anything. If you ask AI to say, how does this particular topic compare or tie into this particular, business model like your agency? How does cognitive dissonance connect to running a marketing agency? AI can give you examples and give you ideas that you can easily implement instantly. Alright. Example: how psychology's recency effect can boost your social media engagement. You know what I mean? This is for people who are in psychology class. It's a lie that you can only apply marketing knowledge from marketing school into running a marketing agency. Basically, whatever field you're in, even in health, it can always tie back. Now, during group projects, volunteer to handle the presentation. All the time you need to say, I'll create the slides. It's great for practice for client pitches. You know what I mean? Every time you need to practice to make PowerPoint presentations and also present them to the class in a way that will make them wanna clap for you. You know what I mean? It's basically practice that will stick in your head and really serve you in running your marketing agency. Step 8, Sunday reset pitch. Every Sunday at 7 p.m., number 1, your academic plan. This week's 3 priorities. Ace your class quiz on dash topic. Start this type of assignment. Attend professor's office hours. Number 2, agency plan. This week's 3 wins. Onboard that client's name who is on your client waiting list. Of course, I'm going to teach you how to prospect before you are able to get, pitch your clients, because this week's 3 wins: on board your client, post this type of content on this type of platform, follow up with this lead. You know what I mean? Sometimes you also need to follow up. It's progress. If you can set out these goals and start achieving them one by one, right? This is self-explanatory. Number 3, self-care. I will work out, see friends, sleep 8 hours every day, every time. You need to allocate these times to yourself, because when you work out, you see friends, and you sleep 8 hours, it actually ties back to your mental health as a student and an agency owner. If you don't work out, if you've got a weak body, you're gonna have a weak mind, and unfortunately you won't be able to balance between running your agency and going to school and getting the best possible grades. You need to be able to see friends, because human beings are very social creatures. We live on the company of others, and unfortunately without the company of others, I'm not sure if we can be happy overall. I'm not saying we're optimizing for happiness. I'm just saying we need friends, right? Social interaction is a need. Sleep 8 hours a day. Sometimes I would discourage sleeping 8 hours a day, especially if this is when your agency is just taking off, or maybe if you are doing very horrible in school. But personally, myself, I don't sleep 8 hours a day. I sleep about 5-6 hours, and I'm very okay with it. It's just today I may not be looking that fit or that persuasive or that witty, because I am genuinely not feeling well. I'm just trying my best to push myself to record this and drive you value, even though I may not feel like it, because business isn't easy. That's just what it is. It's not easy, and that's what it is. Now do this. Open your notes up, write your next class's 3 points before you leave the room, and send one client a message right now. You know what I mean? Basically, the entire notion of this course is to teach you how to manage your time. Specific segments of the day need to be allocated to specific activities, whether it's school activities or whether it's marketing activities. So, you've just started. Keep it simple and watch both worlds grow. So, basically, inside of this, I have highlighted to you how time management is effective in building your agency and getting good grades in class. For you to get good grades in class, you need to repeat to yourself every single time what you have learned. You need to record yourself talking about your lecture. You need to teach others. If you teach others what you learned in class, it's easier for you to remember and ace it on the exam. As well as with agency, all the time you need to allocate specific segments in the day for specific activities. Where many agency owners fail is inconsistency. Sometimes they are going to do 10 hours of outreach, but sometimes they're not going to do any outreach at all. But the sweet spot is maybe doing about 50 outreach messages in a day, and you can also do about 3 hours of studying in the day. Okay, 3 hours of studying a day may be like small, but if you're just starting out, if you are somebody who doesn't really study or doesn't make it a habit to study, I would say you need to start with 3 hours of very deep work. Deep work is a concept that enables you to, 1, not have music playing as you are studying, 2, not have any distractions, turn on your airplane mode, put your phone in the next room, do everything that you can to make sure that you are only focused on what you are doing, which is studying. Once you are studying, you need to make sure that that it's a sanctuary. Nobody must disturb you. No notification, no sound, no client, no nothing. When you start studying, you need to make sure you do 3 hours deep work, which means no swaying your focus. The moment your focus starts to go wayward, you quickly balance it back. And just like that, you'll be able to achieve way more than your peers in class who study for 1 hour, then go smoke weed, then go talk to girls, then go do what. It's unsustainable. If you are able to focus for 3 hours studying, maybe you finish, you take a 1 hour break where you pretty much, take a nap or do whatever, or not play a video game, but work out maybe for another 2 hours, and then dive into your agency work, of where you're going to have like a 3 hour deep work block again. That's more sustainable and is going to give you a higher competitive edge compared to people who basically drop out of school to pursue their agency, or continue with the education system without ever focusing on their agency, which just keeps them broke. With that being said, if you've got any questions for me, whether about deep work, whether about how to manage your time efficiently, make sure to ask it in the question section above, on top of the main classroom. That's the question section, because if you never ask questions, you're never going to know. And if you never know, then you spent $25 on something that is absolutely not going to serve you. So in order for this to serve you in the best possible way, ask questions. You need to ask questions, and if you do ask questions, it simply means you are learning, and if you are learning, it means you have gotten the best value possible from this online masterclass. With that being said, I would like to see you again in another course. I will be uploading new courses once every 2 weeks or so, because these do take a lot of time and energy to research and get data driven. But so far, inside of the Distinction Startup, there are 5 above 20-minute course long videos. You know what I mean? Let's say about 4 hours of courses right now. So yeah, that's something that's going to serve you. So, welcome to the Ultimate Study Success Script course. In this video, I am going to teach you how to actually study and study smart, not just study hard, but actually study in a way that puts you in a competitive edge over your colleagues who don't really know how to study. And in this video, this course particularly, I am going to teach you exactly how to do so. I'm going to teach you how exactly I was able to pass every single class that I attended while also being able to run an agency by the side. I'm not going to talk about the agency aspect in this particular video, but I will just talk about how to study in a way that will enable you to pass your exams and, master everything that you learn. So let me quit the babbling and dive directly into the course. The introduction. Science behind smart learning. Let's be clear, you're not here to study harder. You are here to study smarter. This script gives you every word, action, and timing trick used by top students and memory champions. No fluff, just what works. Read this listen to this course like it's your exam survival Bible, alright? Like your life depends on it. Like you need to listen to this course. Like if you don't listen to it, you are not going to achieve the academic success that you have always wanted. Now, let's begin. Step 1, active learning mastery. The Feynman technique script. Stand up. Pick a concept you're struggling with. Say cellular respiration. Now pretend you're explaining it to a 10-year-old. Say out loud, cells are like tiny factories. They take in sugar and oxygen, break them down, and make energy. The leftovers are carbon dioxide and water, like factory smoke. If you can simplify it, you don't really understand it. Go back to your notes and try again. If you can't simplify it, you don't really understand it. Go back to your notes and try again. The main takeaway here is every concept that you learn in class, you need to see if you can actually simplify it. Because if you can simplify it, it's a very good sign that it's actually stuck into your head. But if you're struggling with simplifying the concept, it simply means you need to go back to your notes and try again. Then there is the SQ3R textbook method script. Open your textbooks to the next chapter. Don't read yet. Number 1, survey, 2 minutes. Scan headings, bold words, and diagrams. Ask, what is the big idea here? You need to understand the idea before you are able to study the concept. Number 2, question, 3 minutes. Turn each heading into a question. Example, how does photosynthesis work? By making it into a question, it's easier for you to understand it and come up with an answer. Because the human bias is whenever we're asked the question, we have no choice but to answer. So by turning a heading into a simple question, we will understand it way before we even go through the work or the note or the concept. Then read, 15 minutes. Hunt for answers for your question. Highlight only the key phrases. Number 4, you need to recite. 5 minutes. Close the book. Say photosynthesis happens when chloroplasts use sunlight to make glucose. Number 5, review. Sketch a quick mind map connecting all of the subheadings. You need to actually review everything that you've studied up to this current moment. Because if you don't review, it simply means that you may feel like you've understood what you've studied on that particular day, but you may be missing the key concepts. So you need to reverse and watch the video again in case you didn't quite understand what I said. So, step 2. Memory hacks that stick. Spaced repetition script. Grab your calendar for any exam date. Mark these review sessions. 24 hours after learning. List 3 points from today's lecture. 7 days later, explain these concepts to an imaginary friend. 30 days later, replete this into something I learned last week. You need to always be connecting your notes into what you learned, because if you're in a particular class, what you learn always finds a way to connect back into each other. But if you can find a way that enables them to connect into each other, it means the odds of you understanding what you study will be even higher. Now we have the Lainter flashcard script. Make 3 physical boxes. Shoe boxes work. Label them. Box 1, daily. Define mitosis. Box 2, every 3 days. E.g., compare mitosis to meiosis. Box 3, weekly. Draw the cell cycle stages. You know what I mean? This is for people who are doing more biology, topics. I'm not doing biology myself, but it's something that is enabled, something that is designed to prove to you that you don't have to be in marketing class or business class to run a business while you are still in school or while you are still getting good grades. So basically, that's exactly what you need to do. Make 3 boxes, shoe boxes work, and label them. You need to always pick up information, and you can consistently fill them up to fit your education style. I don't know if I should call it education style. Every time you get a card right, move up a box. Wrong, back to box 1. Step 3. Study session game plan. Pomodoro script. Set a timer for 25 minutes. Say, for the next 25 minutes, I'm a laser beam. No phone, no snacks, no distractions. When the alarm goes off, stand up and say 5 minutes break. I will walk, stretch, breathe deeply, and repeat this 4 times. And I will get a 30-minute reward. Inside of the SMMA, I've forgotten what the scholar. Okay, inside the SMMA/school course, I talked about deep work. How you should be able to work for 3 hours, 4 hours consistently on one project for you to actually be able to get the best possible results. What you need to do is use the Pomodoro technique to not get burnt out. Those are only 5-minute breaks. Don't go on your phone. Just walk around for a little bit and maybe even take a cup of water, because that's better for a break. So yeah, if you are not understanding anything inside of this script, you always need to go back to the first thing that I talked about. All this is yours. You can see it anytime you want, and if you follow this religiously, it simply means that you are going to become an effective student and you are going to pass your exams. Now, eat the frog. I'm sure you heard of the concept called eat the frog. Morning ask, what is the hardest task today? Maybe it's calculus. Say, I'll do 3 problems right now before checking my phone. After finishing, say, worst task done. Day gets easier. What this means is you always need to complete the hardest and the most unenjoyable task first before you do anything in the day. For me, it's studying, right? I genuinely don't like studying, but I know that it's important to me. So what I basically do is, okay, scratch that. I have 2 responsibilities. I have to run my agency. I have to run my school. I have to get good grades at school because I have to get that degree. Now the thing is, to balance both of these things, I need to be able to eat the frog. Let me give you this analogy. If somebody came up to you and told you to say, it's either you eat this shawarma first or you eat this frog first. You have to eat this frog. It's a frog, an alive frog. And there's also a shawarma. And then they ask you to say, you can eat the shawarma first and then eat the frog, or you can eat the frog first, then eat the shawarma. Which one would you choose? Which one would you eat first? If you are somebody who thinks properly, it simply means you would always eat the frog first, because it's the most disgusting and nasty thing to eat, right? If you eat the frog, it simply means, oh, now that I have that over with, you can enjoy your nice steaming hot shawarma. And just like that, that's where the eat the frog technique comes from. So you need to start with the most draining, the most ugly, the most unenjoyable task first thing in the morning before you even check your phone. Basically, like what I do, the moment you get up, the moment you just open your eyes, you need to start studying, right? Study the most difficult thing, whether it's calculus. I fucking hate calculus, but of course I'm in a fortunate position where I don't take calculus. But the thing is, if it's something like math or something that you just have to do, then it's the first thing that you need to do first thing in the morning. Step 4, active recall drills. Self-testing script. Before opening notes, say, what do I remember about this topic? Write bullet points, then check your notes. Missing something? Write in red pen. Say, I will revise this red text twice per day. Something that you find the most difficult to remember or master or grasp the concept of, you need to mark with a red pen so that you can deliver the urgency into what you are actually studying. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of students have this habit of always going through what they already know and thinking they are studying. Some topics may be easier than others, but the thing is, you need to be able to brush away the topics that you understand and bring forth the topics that really trouble you, the topics that make you fail in class, the topics that give you goosebumps every time you think about them. You need to think about them and you need to give them specialized attention, and you need to review them twice a day. And that is a very good way to go about it. The blurting method. Take a blank page. Write everything I know about this particular topic. At the top, set 5 minutes timer. Dump all ideas, then compare your notes. Circle gaps in red. Say, these gaps are my focus tomorrow. If you have any gaps in knowledge, you always need to write them with a red pen. Not just any type of pen, find a red pen and underline it, because once you do this, you are going to be able to you're going to be able to understand that you don't understand what you think you understand. By underlining it with a red pen, it simply means that your brain is automatically going to give it more specific attention. And you need to be very consistent with this, right? You don't need to just follow what you're learning inside of the Distinction Startup for 2 days or a week and then you dive back into your bad habits. You need to turn this into a lifestyle. If you're going to be successful at school, it simply means you have to be serious and follow everything that I am telling you about. Number 5, let's talk about the environment setup. Study zone. Clear your desk. Allow 1 notebook, 1 pen, 1 water bottle. Say, this space is for focus. No YouTube, no snacks, no multitasking. You need to make it your sanctuary. Clear out everything that has nothing to do with what you are doing at the current moment. If it has nothing to do with school, take it aside. Even if it's your business, you're trying to run an agency while you are still in school and you set time in the day to just study, everything that doesn't have anything to do with school, put it aside because it simply won't serve you. Right? The Cornell notes. Cornell note script. Right. Divide your pages into 3 sections. 1. Right side, lecture notes. 2. Left side, key questions. What is the main takeaway? 3. The bottom, 2 sentence summary. After class, cover the right side. Quiz yourself using the left side questions. Step 6. Exam week battle plan. 7-day prep script. Day 1 to 3, I'll practice past papers under time conditions. Day 4 to 5, I will teach chapters 4 to 6 to my study group. Day 6, I will make mind maps for all of my topics. Day 7, I will review mistakes and sleep 8 hours. You know what I mean? You need to have an exam week battle plan. If you have exams that particular week, this is something that has been proven to work, right? Like 100 students have used this according to my study, and trust me, this works every single time. If you're able to do this effectively, then you will be unstoppable in your exam. Now, the sleep optimization script. Sleep is very important. As much as people want to disregard it, sleep is something that really recharges your brain and lets you refocus on the important things during your day. At 9 p.m. say, screen time ends now, right? No agency work, no studying, no nothing. All screen time ends. You can focus on meditation, manifestation if you do that, journaling, or even just affirmations to yourself. You need to even visualizations, you know what I mean? Those are all good self-improvement habits that you need to implement, especially during wind down time. 9:15, review tough concept on paper, not a screen. Everything that you have learned that is tough, get a paper and review it. That's before you sleep. 10 p.m, drink chamomile tea, or any tea basically, not coffee, not anything caffeinated. Say, my brain is consolidating memories. You need to say it out. You need to make sure your brain understands what it's supposed to be doing at this particular moment. My brain is remembering everything I learned in class. My brain is consolidating all of my memories. My brain is going to remember everything that I've learned in class. When you do this, it simply means you are reinforcing it in your brain that what you learn is important. 10:30 p.m, lights out, visualize yourself acing the exam. Like I mentioned, visualization is very important. Visualize yourself smiling in the exam room. Visualize yourself feeling like this is your domain, this is your kingdom. You're going to ace this exam no matter what. And don't start panicking, don't start stressing. And I hope you're not one of those people who cram last minute. If you follow everything that I'm teaching you inside here, you don't have to be a type of student that crams information. You just need to calm down and visualize yourself acing that exam and practice regularly. Here are some pro tips for success, stress-free success. The 5-minute rule script. Don't feel like studying? Say, I'll just do 5 minutes. Set a timer. Often you keep going, and if not, stop guilt-free, right? If you don't feel like studying, right, you're not motivated to study, then all you have to do is tell yourself to say, I'm just gonna study for 5 minutes. More often than not, you're going to exceed those 5 minutes because, studying sometimes it gets immersive, especially if you do deep work. Just tell yourself, it's just 5 minutes. I'll just study for 5 minutes. If I just study for 5 minutes, if you don't manage to study for 5 minutes, cool. You are going to, bypass 5 minutes, of which it's a win for you. But if you manage to hit 5 minutes and you stop before you exceed, it means you stand up guilt-free and you study for 5 minutes. At least all you have to do is gain some concepts in the head. But more often than not, you are going to exceed 5 minutes. Yeah. Make a journal script. Get a cheap notebook. Title it, Errors I Won't Repeat. Every time you miss a question, write, question, what is the capital of Australia? My wrong answer, Sydney. Correct answer, Canberra. Why I messed up. Confused with large city. You know what I mean? You need to also ask yourself why you messed up. You need to have a particular notebook where you tell yourself, where you reinforce to yourself why you got an answer wrong. because there's always a reason. Sometimes you can confuse an answer with another, or you just simply didn't know. But this should be your reference book so that you know where exactly you stand in terms of your studies. So yeah, errors I won't repeat again. Get your notebook as soon as you possibly can. Alright? The hydration hack. Place a water bottle on your desk. Every time you answer a question correctly, take a sip. Hydration equals brain power. You know what I mean? It's more like a game here at this point. It works better if the bottle of water is cold, some cold water, and you've been studying. Obviously, you're going to be thirsty, right? Every time you get an answer correct while you're answering a past exam paper, you need to take a sip, because hydration equals brain power. The final exam day script. Entering the room. Number 1, scan the paper. Whisper, I will tackle the easy questions first. The main mistake that I see a lot of people make, and guilty, I used to make this mistake as well, where you open the exam paper and you start answering all the questions in a row. There is no shame in opening all the way to the middle of the page or starting from the end question, right? You need to answer the easy ones first, because if you've ever heard of brain points, you don't want to throw out all your brain points on adding all of the hard questions. You need to be able to first answer all the easy ones so that you don't mess up, because it's frustrating to fail an exam of which there were easy questions. Then, basically what I'm telling you to do is start with the easy one. There's no shame in that. You can start from the end of the page, the middle of the page. You can jumble, and then answer them even if it's not in order. And then at the end of the exam paper, that's when you can start to review if you've answered every single question in the best possible way you can. Number 2, start writing. Say, I have prepared for this. Say you have prepared for this. Then you take a deep breath. Because if you don't take a deep breath, you're still going to be stressed, you're going to be panicking, there's a lot going to be going through your mind, and it might take away from your exam. 3, stuck. Write what the key concept is here in the margin. Always ask yourself, what is the key concept and how can it connect to something that you studied? Maybe it's your agency, maybe it's something that happened in your family. Always find a way to connect one thing with another. That's why during studying, when you are connecting one thing with another, it's easier for you to remember everything that you study. The last 10 minutes, you need to check your calculations and say, I've got this. Reinforce it to yourself that you are actually going to pass the exams, because if you don't believe in yourself, quite frankly, nobody will believe in you. Right? Tools and resources. The Anki script. I will make a digital flashcard for 10 minutes a day. You know what I mean? Like, you need to make flashcards for what you study. Just for 10 minutes a day. Just 10 minutes a day, make some flashcards. Talk about what you learn, the key concepts that you grasp, where you make mistakes. Just make some flashcards, maybe stick them on your desk or just somewhere where you can visibly see them, and that's going to really help you. Notation setup. I organize notes by subject and exam date. You need to organize your notes in a way in which they're easy for you to find and refer back to. The Forest app rule. If I touch my phone, my virtual tree dies. Basically, you need to discipline yourself to not touch your phone. A lot of people, the reason why they fail exams is they're just too addicted to their phone. They want to check the notification. Maybe you're studying, right? You're studying, blah, 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 blah. But the thing is, your phone rings with a notification. Maybe your girlfriend calls you and, you want to see how she's doing. Then already you've lost about 30 of your brain points. And it will be hard for you to get back that 30 unless tomorrow. And it's going to be even harder for you to, pass those exams, because you need to focus. So avoid your phone at all costs, especially during studying. Even when it comes to working on your agency, avoid your phone at all costs. The 2-minute mindset reset. Before bed each night, say, I am building knowledge like a snowball. Small, consistent efforts compound. Tomorrow, I'll study smarter, not longer. You know what I mean? The more you study, the more you start to understand more techniques of studying, and the more you know yourself in terms of your memory patterns, your concentration patterns, your focus patterns. Only you can really understand this. It's really complex for other people to give you advice on how long you should study, but you need to master this to yourself. I'm not saying study for 30 minutes a day and go about your day and go hedonistic. You need to master yourself. Start with longer. Start studying 5 hours. If 5 hours is not okay for you, drop to 4 hours, then 3 hours. Let's say 2 hours is the minimum. 2 hours a day is minimum, and going below that or above that, I'm telling you, something else. I'm even getting tired now. I'm not feeling well. Now, go grab a blank notebook. Title it My Exam Domination Plan. My Exam Domination Plan. Write today's date and 1 concept I'll master tomorrow. 2, 1 active recall drill I'll do. 3, 1 mistake I'll avoid. You've taken the first step in academic mastery. The rest is in execution. So basically, what you need to do is everything that I've told you so far. If you are able to implement all of these steps that I've told you, then you will be unstoppable during your exams. Remember, you need to go deep work. 4 hours a day studying, 2 to 4 hours a day is a sweet spot for most people. I like to do 4 hours. I don't know how long you like to study for. Sometimes, some people like to study for shorter periods of time. Some people like to study for short boosts, many times in the day. There's some people, they like to go with long boosts in the day, but it's not me to tell you what your brain understands best. But I do recommend that you study 4 hours a day, because just like this, it was able to transform a lot of students' lives, academic lives, and it enabled a lot of students to actually pass their exams. Deep work is a must. You need to avoid your phone at all costs. You need to focus on what you're studying, as well as in deep work, you need to make sure the desk that you're studying on contains nothing. 1 notebook, 1 water bottle, 1 pen. Not 2 pens, not 5 notebooks, not 3 water bottles, only 1 of each, so that you can focus in the best possible way. If you have any questions that you'd like to ask me, make sure to ask them in the question section above. And thanks so much for watching. I'll be seeing you again in the next course.